Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Let's Talk Money panel. Well, as you know, money doesn't grow on trees, although my teenagers think that's the case, nor will your IT budget grow on a tree. So we're going to talk about CapEx and OpEx, and I have a great set of panelists with me to cover the topic. So let's turn it over to them. I'm going to start with you, Paul. Please introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
Sure. Hi. My name is Paul Skaney, and I'm the Global Director of our OEM and Embedded Solutions here for Lenovo's data center group, which is the team that owns the on-demand program, of which Cobalt Iron and the Compass product is a part of, which is something we designed to work with ISVs to help them put together kind of turnkey solution or appliances that are made in Lenovo factories.
Thank you, Paul. Raul?
Hi there, I'm Raul Revilla. I work for a company called Cheney Brothers. We're a food service distributor in the Southeast United States. And I'm responsible for the core business systems, making sure that they're up and running.
Excellent. And Greg?
Hello, Greg Tevis with Cobalt Iron. I've been working for about 38 years in the storage and data protection market. Honored to be with this distinguished panel, and thanks to each of you as panelists and also to our whole audience that might be joining.
Great. Thank you, Greg. So, well, I have a bunch of questions, and here's how I would like to do it. We're going to talk about CapEx and then OpEx, because, you know, when you think about cost, it's not price, it's cost. And cost, of course, takes multiple shapes and forms. And with these great panelists, we should be able to cover quite a bit of ground. So what I'd like to do is, Paul, maybe start with you and ask you, how does Lenovo with the Compass solution help with CapEx?
Sure. So firstly, we actually, as part of the on-demand program, we build the solution, and we actually preload the Compass software in the same factories that we actually manufacture the servers. What that does is it eliminates a second stop, and it efficiently basically enables us to deliver a complete solution to the end customer without any sort of middleman or people in between. On top of that, you're getting to leverage Lenovo's great economy of scale, right? You know, we are building a device every few seconds, whether it be a mobile phone all the way to the data center, and we do have an award-winning supply chain. So being able to kind of take advantage of that, we were able to pass those kind of savings on to the end customer by using our efficiencies from our economy of scale.
Great. Well, talking about customers, let's talk with you for a second, Raul. What has been your experience in terms of savings from your perspective?
Well, the big savings for me was in time. I was spending lots of time with our previous solution, making sure that everything was successfully working and so forth. And Compass met all of our needs, got us off of tape media, and has saved us a ton of money.
Well, that makes sense, and it goes quickly. It adds up very quickly. Greg, you get to see a lot of customers. You see all of them from your standpoint, so you have a pretty unique vantage point, really. So, what are you hearing, and is it something that maybe you can give us some more details about?
Sure. I think across all our Cobalt Iron customers throughout our history, we've seen an average CapEx savings of over 50%. We use 50%, but that's fairly conservative based on the empirical data. The CapEx savings with Compass come from a variety of efficiencies, including compute, storage, and licensing reductions due to Compass automation, and also due to the optimization driven by Compass Analytics. One particular example real fast is that we regularly see a 2-to-1 and often a 3-to-1 reduction in servers required with Compass to protect the same amount of data.
Well, those are impressive numbers. And, you know, another question that comes up often, I think, is you think about CapEx and reducing CapEx. And of course, is there a trade-off? Are you going to trade off performance, for example? I think performance is obviously in this business very important. So I'd like to ask actually the three of you that question in terms of trade-off. So, and maybe start with you, Raul, here in terms of what have you seen in your environment? Have you seen any change in performance, any trade-off, and how did it all play out for you?
Actually, we've had a huge reduction in the amount of time that it takes us to back up our core business systems. One of our largest databases was taking up to 8 hours to back up on our previous solution, and now we are averaging about 40 minutes on that same backup. And the issues we were experiencing with contention, for the resources on tape libraries and so forth completely has disappeared.
Okay, so you've reduced your CapEx and you've improved your performance in this case.
Yeah.
So Paul, you're the hardware guy, right? What do you see from your standpoint? What's your take on this trade-off?
Sure. So, I mean, there's absolutely no trade-off with Lenovo hardware. We currently actually hold about 195 performance benchmarks across the industry, across our portfolio. And that's the most out of any hardware vendor in the data center side. And if you think about it, it's pretty astounding considering we're all using the same Intel CPUs, the same branded of memory, right? Lenovo takes performance very seriously, and we do a lot of things from our signal integrity to kind of tweaking our firmware to make sure that our hardware is some of the best performing in the industry.
Great. And let me ask you, thinking about CapEx again, were there any additional savings that you've observed by leveraging your technology?
Well, sure. Obviously, so by running the Compass software on a high performing Lenovo software, what you're getting is the kind of the best of both worlds, right? You're really kind of optimizing kind of the hardware and software together to really see the performance numbers like Roel was talking about earlier.
Excellent. And Greg, what are you seeing from your customer standpoint? Are you seeing the same type of well, I guess non-trade-off?
Yeah, so Roel's experience with Cheney Brothers is very common. And I would say, Christophe, the reason for it is that Cobalt Iron Compass takes fantastic technologies like Lenovo capabilities and technologies, and it's completely optimized to the customer environments and the customer service levels and their service level requirements. And then once it's optimized, it's continually, it's not a one-time static thing. It's continually optimized by the Compass software on an ongoing basis.
So Raul, again, thinking about CapEx before we jump to the next part of the conversation, were there any other savings that you were able to experience with the Compass solution beyond what you've already described?
Sure. So we were able to eliminate having to have hardware and software maintenance on these tape libraries at 2 different data centers. So that was substantial as well, and much less worry, as in addition to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you put a price on a better night's sleep, but it sounds pretty good to me. All right. Well, let's switch to OpEx now a little bit, and how the solution actually influences OpEx and how to reduce OpEx with the Compass platform. So, Paul, I'm going to start with you because I think it's important to have your perspective. Where do you normally see OpEx savings as people leverage the Lenovo solutions and hardware?
Sure. So, I mean, across the board, I think all of our customers are experiencing kind of the same thing, right? With they're shrinking IT budgets and they're expected to do more. So a lot of the places they look for that savings, especially from an OpEx perspective, is through automation. And the more they can automate things, the less people they need to have on it, and they can reduce some of their regular expenditures. I think the Compass software, provides a very comprehensive automation for your backup, right? And it also does use some analytics that help with that as well. And having the high quality Lenovo server under the covers reduces any sort of irregular maintenance and stuff like that as well, which in combination will help definitely bring down your OpEx.
Yeah, that's great because more resilient infrastructure certainly provides for less IT diversion in many ways and resources being used up for other things. So let's get your take on this, Raul. What have you seen from your standpoint in terms of OpEx in your shop?
Well, we're a small shop to begin with, and the less time that we have to spend monitoring and making sure that our backup solutions are working as they should is tremendous. I spend very little time anymore doing any maintenance or monitoring of that backup.
Well, thank you. And actually, I'd like to also get your perspective, Greg, on this, because we talked a little bit about automation here. We talked about operational efficiencies and having a lot of people. What type of administrative tasks can the Compass platform actually automate or orchestrate?
So yeah, sure. So it's really a long list of tasks that Compass eliminates from what we call the daily grind of enterprise backup. Raul mentioned a couple of them. That's his personal experience, and that's pretty common. Compass automates almost all of the components and the operations of the entire backup landscape. That includes the backup server software, but not only that, the operating system software, the underlying server and storage, the backup catalog software, and the storage, as I mentioned, and the storage firmware. Some specific tasks that come to mind that are automated by Compass for each of those components include, I think Raul mentioned this, but the software patch maintenance, configuration, monitoring, reporting, capacity management, performance management, security management, service level enforcement. And a big one that comes to my mind also is health monitoring and problem remediation. Compass often automatically, proactively detects backups or other issues before they happen, and that brings additional savings on avoided issues and downtime. So Christoph, those are a couple things that come to my mind of the type of tasks that Compass automates.
Oh, thank you, Greg. And that's actually quite a pretty long list. And those are obviously very critical in that it certainly augments the efficiency of the whole solution without requiring that human intervention that can also be prone to errors sometimes. Raul, let me turn back to you for a second. From your experience, what other efficiencies have you seen in your shop with the Compass solution?
Right. I'll reiterate some of those same points that on the server side, I spend zero time anymore. There's no need for me to monitor and manage any of that scratch media, all those things that come along with older solutions, with tape-based. So that's a humongous savings of time and energy for us.
And of course, that translates into dollar signs at some point. Paul, I'd like to maybe close with you here and ask you if there's anything else that you see in terms of OpEx from your standpoint on the basis of all the customers you've been able to engage with.
Yeah, well, generally, customers' environments today are actually quite complicated, right? There's on-prem, remote locations for customers that have multiple sites, right? Private cloud, public cloud. And you're looking at customer environments that are using sometimes all four of those kind of environments in the same kind of IT infrastructure. And a lot of the times you're looking at a unique piece of software to manage each of those sites individually, right? With the Compass software today, you can kind of manage all of those environments under a single kind of pane of glass, which I think is great and really resonates with our customers, especially in these kind of complex environments.
Well, our research here at ESG shows that IT is only getting more complex, and that's really creating all sorts of issues. And it's great to hear and see solutions that actually take some of that complexity away in the very important and critical space of data protection. After all, data is the business these days. Look, Paul, Raul, and Greg, thank you so much for joining me on this panel today. We talked money and we talked savings, more importantly. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to our viewers also. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.